Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at the very last episode of The Plague. And if you're watching this one, you're going to want to watch all the episodes before this, but make sure, even if you don't watch these very often, to watch episode 46. It will be by far the most important episode of the series. And to tie it all together, episode 50 should do that, and I should explain a lot of things. But for now, let's get into the video. Starting off, last episode, the stock market crashed. And that leads to this gigantic economical alliance to collapse. That's how bad this is. Like, this is terrible. This country already dead, so that doesn't really affect them much, because they're not a thing now. But, yeah, it's just not good. That one's gone, that one's gone. This one leaves, and then, yeah, so the whole thing has collapsed. There will be, it will still remain in Europe. In Europe, between these four people, these four members, they were hit first, but they are able to hold out. They're going to keep the economical alliance. Meanwhile, everybody else just kind of deletes it. Over here, of course, we're going to get rid of that one, because they are also dead. And we will also be looking at the end of the Plague, of course, and a lot of different stuff. So this is another important episode to the series. But we're going to go ahead and look at the very a cure has been found, and in fact it has been worked on with several different nations, but mainly the nations right around here. For instance, Egypt worked on it a lot. Pink Team worked on it a lot. Turkey worked on it a lot, as well as the Lion Team, of course. These countries were never hit. They were, besides from the south a little bit. But these are the main people. But of course, on the Red Team, of course, they worked on this a lot, and the Korean Team worked on it a lot. But the main people are, of course, going to be these four members. And now we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna look at the Plague, and we're gonna basically just see how the cure and how the cure affects the Plague and where it starts. Of course, it starts down here, and it's one long layer. It's just gonna, yeah, it's gonna start like down here in this area, and this is the only area really in the world that's unaffected, besides for like Australia, who at this point we're just gonna be real. Yeah, there's gonna be, of course, pockets that are like safe, like at the capitals of these countries and some areas around that. But that's not too important right now. We're focusing on the cure. And once they've had the cure, they're cured forever. They can never get it again. So this is pretty good, and they'll quickly look here. Will quickly pass these guys, and then a lot of people get it internationally. Ireland ends up getting it somehow. They release it to the public. France gets it. Of course, probably need to delete these flight paths now. But they're all just free now, and it'll spread. Oops, not like that. It'll start just everybody just being freed from Europe. And we're probably about 3 years into the Plague right now. So, definitely from the past, time has slowed a lot. But, yeah, so they keep spreading until most of Europe is freed. We get to about like this, and all the people in here are fine. And then it gets shipped off to other areas. Like, for instance, of course, this area was never infected of the Red Team. but the blue team is safe. The fortified areas don't need to be there anymore, but Africa is starting to be better now. They don't need any of this, of course. But everywhere's just getting freed, kind of, which is kind of interesting. Then Korea gets a hold of it. They start using it. Eventually, from this, like Japan gets it, and we see China getting it, and eventually the North Chinese, the Communist Chinese team getting it. And now it's in over here, and then Indonesia is going to get it because they're allies with Communist China. And then they're going to free their whole area, which means all this area down south in Oceania is freed. India gets it, and they're going to free everywhere. All this area is freed. And, yeah, I mean, I know I'm not really doing much, but that's pretty much how it goes. Basically by the end of it, that doesn't really help. We're gonna speed this up a little bit by increasing the brush size. Eventually, this cure, this isn't taking place like all at once. Like, it started there, and like after like 3 minutes, it spread to the whole world now. This is definitely taking place. Right now, probably 6 months into the cure being developed. Of course, new areas are still, a lot of people are still dying, but in areas that don't get it. But then, yeah, USA got it, and then it spread it to its allies. So they all got it, and eventually spread it down to South America. And then at this point, we're about 1 year into the cure. South America is freed. South America now freed. North America is still being worked on. It's probably up to here now. You can see where I'm going with this. Probably a year and a month after this, all of this is just done. The plague is gone, so there will be no need for that slide anymore. So the plague is completely gone now. Now, we're actually going to look at kind of like the peace treaties of each little area in each of these countries that collapsed. In total, there is about, let me count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 countries collapsed. So, of course, we're going to need to be doing all that. 7, 4, 8. So, we're going to be looking at like peace treaties of all of these countries. And, of course, there are a lot of peace treaties. We're going to look at the first one over here, which is held in the peace team's capital. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at that peace treaty. And the peace treaty is very simple. It looks just like this, and you might notice that all 3 of these countries meet right in the middle, right here. And this is a very big problem, because if you look at the ideology layer, first of all, this shouldn't be here. But you will see that they're all different ideologies, and they're all clashing. Eventually this agreement was made, though, but it isn't good. This is like heavily armed area. I want to say like Kashmir, but I want to say it's as it could be a little bit more worse or a little bit better. I'm not sure, because I don't know exactly how. I don't know exactly what's happening in Kashmir. I just know it's kind of bad. But it does get to about like yeah, they all meet in the middle. Very armed borders, very deadly, especially around here. But the red team and the blue team share a very big border, so that's also another big problem. So they don't have as many troops over there. I don't know, I'll teleport it over here. But now we're going to move on to the second country. And you'll start to notice that you might have seen some of these countries before. This is actually probably one of the most simple peace treaties we have seen yet. The peace team gets one little province right down there. And then we bring back the lime team, who we've probably seen appear 3 times in history now. It's kind of like the gray team and the lime team take turns existing. But, yeah, they're back now. Time to look at the next one. And this is Venezuela. This one is going to be kind of complicated. And, probably my favorite peace treaty out of all of them. So let's look at that. And here is our peace treaty. It's kind of simple, but it's kind of not at the same time. But, right here, this area, all goes over to Colombia. Down here, 2 new states get added to the Holy Roman Empire. Or I guess it's not really Roman. I know there's a region in this area kind of called, it starts with an R, so I might change it to that, like the Holy whatever Empire. But I'm pretty sure these guys are at, what, 6 states now? Because it started with 3. Then they gained 2 over here. So they're at 6 states now. Wait. No, they would be at 9 states now. Wait, 7. They're at 7 states. Hopefully that, yeah, it's 7. Okay, they're at 7 states now in the Holy Roman Empire, which is pretty cool. These guys are getting pretty big. And then we have the new Colombia, which is not that color, which is going to be this color. Or the new Venezuela. So, it's not the same at all. 2 completely different countries with completely different things. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and add them in. And now here's our updated South America. It looks different. And after today's episode, I'm going to go through and change all this stuff that I did with them. Like the capitals and the ideology and all that. But now we're on to the next one. Which is right here in the heart of Africa. And here is another simple peace treaty. This country does not exist anymore. It is split up in 2. Note that the, whatever color this country is, piece is a little bit smaller than the dark blues. And that is because they have the capital, which is of course going to be, going to have more value. But, there we go. There's a peace treaty there. Up here, there isn't a peace treaty, just, these guys, the purple team takes it all. It's all theirs. I'm sure, get rid of these white lines. And yeah, they're completely wiped off the map. So now we're just left with pretty much big countries in Europe. No more just small countries from the remnants of the Dutch team. Next over here, same thing. They can annex. This country does. Just like that. Simple, easy. Down here, we're gonna do, I think, another peace treaty for this one because it's a little bit more complicated. Here's the peace treaty. Yeah, this one wasn't really too advanced. Peace treaties are just better. They work better. This is it. This is the whole peace treaty. Yeah, it isn't that complicated, like I said. Even though I said it was, but moving on. They're completely gone now. Oh, is this lagging? Okay. Now we have our next country, which is these guys. This is probably my favorite peace treaty out of them all. Because we're bringing back another country from the dead. And you'll see who that is in probably about a second. And here's the peace treaty. Turn off that light real quick. This one is pretty good. You might see there's a lime colored country here. I'll show you that in a second, but, all these countries take some land, and then we have the Lion team returning from, like, I think it originally was here from, like, episode 2 or 3, which is actually insane. I don't know. It's not, of course, not the same country, same color, for old time's sake. Of course, there were more modern countries in this area since then, but, you know, we're going to keep it here. And we actually have something to talk about these guys a little bit later. Which is, let me look up, oh, no, that's right now. But before we get to that, Malaysia, they've been through some stuff. They used to be humongous, bigger than China. Now they're tiny once again, but now they're just nothing. There's no one there. And, they're not even sturdy enough for these, alliances, this alliance to occupy them. Which of course they're not in anymore. But they're just really not, they're just not stable enough. The government completely collapsed. Everybody, like the government, they're all gone. You can't pick up pieces of you can't do anything. So we might see actually some more dividing coming. More dividing, which we actually see Lion Team taking a claim over this province right here, which no one else claims, so it can be theirs. We're going to get rid of that capital because there's nothing here anymore. But the next thing that there is this is happening. Now, you may think this is an invasion, but it's just actually just rebels that want to join up, because these guys are the original Bangladesh. And they completely overtake the country. And they're going to fully annex them into their country, which probably will lead you to think that these guys aren't a good country, if you know what I mean. And by that I mean fascist. You probably think they're fascist. And to that I'm going to say, they're not. They're not fascist. A lot of people probably thought that, but I'm going to tell you now, they're not. They're not fascist. They're actually a false democracy. Because they weren't even supplying those rebels. They were kind of forced to annex them. But, which is a weird concept, being forced to annex somebody. But there we go. Everybody, order is restored. Everything looks fine again. Nothing actually looks messed up besides for over here. This looks weird. It looks kind of cursed. You know what? Yeah, I might just change this back real quick to a light. Maybe this. Maybe that. Oh no, we already got one of those. Lime seems too bright for this for this area. That'll have to do for now. Change that a little bit. Okay, so we're just gonna keep it like this for now. But that will actually do it for today's episode. If you enjoyed, please share your support, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that. And watch episode 46. And if you don't watch all episodes, be sure you watch episode 46 and 50. Those are going to be the most important episodes out of them all I've ever done. This is where the lore really ties in. It's going to play a very big part in the coming episodes. So, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.